and how it works, how do we optimize it, and how do we create a basic blocks, and how does the codes inside the basic blocks works, that these informations that we are going to see today. So let me just tell you what is optimization first. So in optimization, we have two types of optimization. One is machine dependent, the other one is machine independent. So what's the output of a compiler? Compiler output is going to be your assembly level language. Yes. So the target of the compiler is the next machine to the compiler is going to be an assembler, right? This is how the computer has been executing all the program, right? So whatever the assembly level language that is being fed out from the compiler, that will be given to the assembler. The assembler will be converting to an object code, and that object code will be combined with the library files, and it will have loader and linker, and then it will be converting to the machine code, that is zeros and ones. This is how it has been converting, correct? So what is machine independent code optimization and machine dependent code optimization? So next to the compiler machine that I have assembler machine, correct? So it will not bother about what is the register allocation of the assembler, how does the assembler works, which assembler is being used. It does not care about what the assembler is. It will just care about what is the program, which programming language is inside the compiler, how do we eliminate the repeated things, how do we compress the program. Like for 1,000 pages it might be, it will be compressing it to 500 pages. Half of it will be compressed so that the time will be consumed. I mean, time will be less consumed when we compress it. That's called optimization, right? So that is your machine independent. Only it will concentrate on the code, not on the other machine. Machine dependent is it will be caring about the register allocation of your assembler. According to the assembler, the code will be optimized. Okay, that is the difference. So in this chapter, we'll discuss only about machine independent code optimization. So what is the principal source optimization is? As we have known, how do we optimize such things are is going to be either globally we will be optimizing or locally we will be optimizing. What is global optimization? What is local optimization? Right? So before the code optimization phase, we had a phase called intermediate code generated. In intermediate code generated, we had a code like this. Sorry, I'll show you. This is how the code you got it in the intermediate code generator, correct? So this code has to be converted to the actual assembly level language that you need to be converting it, right? So for this conversion, it has to be like directly, it is not converting it, it is taking some methodology called, it is creating a basic blocks. In that basic blocks, like this, in that basic blocks it is putting up the programs, and then it starts executing. Okay, this we'll see it later at the end of the topic. I'll just tell you what are the common like how do we minimize the program. These things we'll discuss first, then I will tell you how do we create a basic block and how the flow has been going from one block to the other block. Okay, so if is it is local optimization, if it is inside one block only, you call it as local optimization. If it is to the other blocks or somewhere else that you are doing it, the optimization, then the content of this is being optimized here. If that is the case, you call it as a global optimization. Okay, these are the optimizations that we have, and certain transformations that we will be doing it to optimize it. So what are those transformations are? Common sub-expression elimination, copy propagation, deadlock code elimination, and constant folding. Okay, these are the like transformations that we will be, or elimination of unwanted lines, that these are the things that we will be doing it. What is common sub expressions? An expression that has been common and repeated, those expression is going to be replaced. For example, if I'm going to give I is equal to 5, okay, again I is equal to 5 in the 10th line. Okay, in the first line I had I is equal to 5. Again in the 10th line I have I is equal to 5. In the 11th line I'm giving A of 10. That is the 10th line. Whatever the value is there in the 10, I am getting the value from that. Instead, I can also give A of 1. Correct? It's anyway same. I is equal to 5. I is equal to 5. It's unnecessarily. I can also give A of 1. Right? That you call it as a common subject. I'm eliminating the unwanted one. So, see here. T1 is equal to 4 star I. Here T4 is 4 star I. Here I've given B of T4 plus 5. T5. Instead of T4, I can eliminate this line completely, this T4 line. I can just put T1 here. B of T1 plus T5. This is not going to change the meaning of my program. The output of T6 is going to be the same. That is, you call it as a common sub-expression elimination. The next one, I'll show you that program. See here, it is going to be same. Copy propagation. What is copy propagation? Assigning a variable for another variable, you call it as in copy propagations. Like for example, f is equal to g. Wherever f, I'm going to assign the value g. For example, I found the value of g, I'll be able to find the value of f easily. I don't have to again find the formula for g and then I don't have to find it. It is not going to give that great improvement in the program, but a bit of improvement will be done. Unnecessary variables, even a variable will be occupying a memory space. Yes, even that will be eliminated. Example, see here, x is equal to pi, a is equal to x rr. Instead of x I'm putting, I can directly put pi. Correct? If instead of rr, if I've given substituted a value like r is equal to 5, I can multiply it here and I can put the value directly. Instead of putting rr, then getting the value, then doing it a multiplication, I can do it directly. That you call it as copy propagation. Copying from one variable to the other variable, you call it as copy propagations. Okay. And the next one will be your one second. The next one will be your deadlock elimination, dead code elimination. What is live code and what is dead code elimination is? Live code is something you call it as any code which is being repeatedly used in every block. You call it as live code. Correct? In that you call it as in live code. In every block, I'm going to use the value of a specific expression, you call it as. That you call live code. In some blocks that expressions or some loops that you will not be using, but for namesake that you will be creating. What if conditions that we will be giving it off. That cases, if it's not going to be used forever, then we can eliminate it off, or that can be called as a dead code elimination. Here you see I is equal to 0 if I is equal to 1, a is equal to a plus 5. I've already initialized the value for I. If it is going to 1, why should this code is going to be never executed since it has been initialized. If that is the case, this if condition will be called as an dead code. Okay, this code will not be executed. Then the next one is constant folding. What is constant folding? Constant values that you say x is equal to 5 constant. These are all constant values. These are things you will be calling, right? For example, I've given a is equal to 3.14 divided by 2. This can be replaced by I can divide it together and I can also put this value. A is equal to 1.570. Correct. This you call it as a constant. Any expression that has to be done in a constant values, that will be doing it and then it will put it in one line. It will not show you 5 into 3.14 divided by 2 in fifth line, and in sixth line it will not show you the final answer. Directly in fifth line it will show you the final like multiplied value will be initialized to the variable. That you call it as a constant folding. Next one is loop optimization. Loop optimization is a time consuming optimization. I mean, the compiler, if it takes time to execute some program, is only inside the loop only it will be taking. If the loop content is so much, the inside the loop, if the content is so much, it will take much of the time to execute the program inner loop, and then it will come out of the program. To make sure that we are reducing, we should reduce the inner loop, only then the program execution time will also be reduced. For that case, we have certain techniques to reduce it. Techniques are code motion, you call it as, and first one is code motion, the second one is loop invariant computation or induction variable elimination, you call it as loop invariant computation or induction variable elimination. The next one will be reduction in strength or strength reduction, you can also call it as. Okay, what is code motion? A code will be moved out of a loop, you call it as code motion. Here you see, while I is equal to I less than equal to limit minus 2, this limit minus 2, instead of this I can move this code above the loop where t is equal to limit minus 2, and I can assign a temporary variable to while. It will it will not make any changes, but it will be reducing a time. For that purpose I am doing that above the loop and then coming out of it. That is code motion. Then the next one is loop invariant computation is, I've given you theoretically here. I'll show you a good example. See here, I have a loop count. Sorry, this is for strength reduction. For strength reduction, for loop invariant also, you can use the same example, that y I less than or equal to limit minus 2. That is also followed for loop invariant, wherein your code will be a part of a loop, variables will be moved to the outside the loop, and then it will execute, and then it will put inside the value will be put into the loop. Okay, that is the definition of it, you call it as loop invariant optimization can be obtained by moving some amount of code outside the loop and placing it just before entering the loop. Just before entering the loop, you can place that code. Okay, and strength reduction is something, instead of multiplication I can put plus, instead of division I can give minus. Like that, operator precedence will be used. Less operator precedence, I mean the less strength for an operator, that will be used more than the higher precedence operators. For example, here count I star 7 is that inside the loop. How I changed, instead of that, you see, I have given temp is equal to 7, and then here I have given count is equal to temp is equal to temp plus 7. What value I will be getting? Again I will be getting that 7, 14, 21, it keeps going. Same answer for both I will be getting it. This is how that we will be doing a this is how you will be optimize it. These are the methods that you will be optimizing it. Where I will be optimizing it? Inside the block. So how do I create a block, and how do I know that this is the first line, this is the second line? How do I know this program has been put into the blocks accordingly? Is that you will be finding the leader in the program. The leader, for that the algorithm is going to be, first statement is the leader. The target of the conditional or unconditional should be a leader. So here the first statement is leader. Target of the conditional check for conditional statement, here in 7th I have the target of that is going to be 5. So 5 is going to be leader. I have condition. The target of that is going to be 7. So 1, 5, 7 is going to be leader. Next, the statement following the conditional or unconditional jump is a leader. That is following the conditional. Here, following that is 10th line. So this is one leader, and 13th line is going to be leader. So 1, 5, 7, 10, 13 is going to be leader. So I have to create 5, I guess. 5 blocks I will be creating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I should be creating. And I should write each leaders at the first of the block. First line of the block. Okay. Now, how do I end? It should start with the leader and ends before the next leader. So here from first I'm taking a leader. Where is the next leader? 5th. So till fourth line is going to be first block. So fifth I'm starting. Where is the next leader? 7. So 5 and 6th in second block. Then I'm taking 7th is leader where it ends 10th line. 7, 8, 9 is going to be in third block. And here 10 is first. Then 10, 11, 12 is going to be in fourth block. And then fifth block is going to be only one line. I is equal to I plus j, because that is the end of the block. And you should be drawing a flow how it has been from first block to the second block, how it is going, which is following the next program. These you will be with the flow diagram that you will be drawing. This is all about your principal source of optimization. Okay. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any doubt, please let me know. All right. Thank you so much.